If you're the Suzuki manager and you see the guy about to win the championship holding that #1 plate out front, and here comes this kid who's wild and aggressive, what do you tell him?
They don't have radios, so you can't tell him anything. There's the battle. We go back to that battle now. Here it looks like a move here by Button. He is caught back up with Goodman and is in position to challenge. Goodman is very good right there, coming out of that right-hander. He gets a nice rhythm for that set of whoops. That's where he pulled away the last lap. This time he can't get away. Button is there to pressure him.
Button now less than a bike length. Whoa, a downhill move. Where did he find that? Button going downhill, gassed it, and he takes over third.
Look at Lusk right on the rear wheel of Brian Swink. Cased it just a little bit there, loses a little ground, but clearly putting pressure on Swink. I think you're right. I think Swink is not running 100% here. I also think that it does indeed have to make the Suzuki guys nervous because Lusk wants to win.
He wants to win. Look at this. He's all over the racetrack. I think if I'm Brian Swink and I look behind me and see him, I think I'd get out of the way.
I think I'd let him go in a heartbeat, man. I'd want to win that championship. Swink's only got to be 17th to claim the title, which is the big plum. He's got plenty of race wins this year. This would be his 7th if he gets it. And Lusk, I'll tell you what, he's certainly not a kamikaze. I wouldn't accuse him of that, but he's right on the ragged edge of control.
Well, now, earlier in this race, I started to talk about Brian Swink winning 4, then losing 2. He had the championship, I feel he had the championship well in hand, and he said, hey, I'm just going to get the points. But he didn't like the things that people were saying after he lost a couple.
Well, you know, 2 weeks ago, I had in my mind that I was going to win the championship. I lost 2 races in a row. Everyone was saying they were better than me. And they thought them guys were getting faster, and it wasn't true. I just wasn't riding hard. So, you know, I wanted to prove to them that I was the best and gave my respect back.
Well, he's been the best all season long. Whether he'll be the best today is still very much to be determined because Ezra Lusk is there to put the pressure on the defending champion, Brian Swink. And this will likely be some sort of a changing of the guard scenario because Lusk is clearly the 125 star for next year.
I'm eager for the final 125 race of the year, Dave. It's going to be an East-West shootout. We're going to see the best from the East, the best from the West, and that means Jeremy McGrath, the Western champion, is going to go head-to-head with Brian Swink. That should be a great 125cc contest.
Laps beginning to wind down here in Pontiac, and for the moment, the Lusk attack is at least a half-dozen bike lengths in arrears, and Swink seems to have control of the event. Perhaps he has picked up the tempo a little bit. We'll be back for the finish. You can pass him, but he's only got a lap and a half to do it.
You know, the two mechanics, they're friends. Obviously, they're Suzuki teammates as well as these two guys are. I just keep looking for this conflict and this bump and shove. And look at Lusk. He's all over it. But I keep waiting for the conflict, the shove, and now they're side by side through that rough whoops, and Lusk takes over the #1 position, and Swink comes right back. Unbelievable race action.
And a traffic jam to boot. They're running through lap riders. Swink looks back over his shoulder. Here comes Lusk now trying that inside line, switching to the outside, putting the pressure on. Tremendous battle between the reigning champion and his young teammate as they set to decide it on the final lap of this 125 main event. Is Swink trying to figure out where Lusk is going to go? Why is he looking back, Larry?
I think he's looking back, wondering where he's going to get hit from. That's what I think. Look, he's looking at him again. I don't think he's concerned about where he's going to go. I think he's concerned about, is he going to land on me? And here comes Lusk right back. Swink should let him go, but he's not going to. Look at this.
He's determined to win the championship by winning the race. There's a mistake by Lusk. A big bobble as he got her crossways and loses at least 5 or 6 bike lengths. That may be the moment in which Brian Swink won the race because now Lusk is going to have to be desperate. Oh, no, and he blew it right there. He got out of shape, and it's all over.
It is all over. You know, I was hoping we had a camera on the mechanics. I started to talk about that because I was waiting for the bump, the shove, the knockdown, and I think they would have dropped their boards, and they probably would have gone at it right in the pits. They're very protective of their riders.
Well, Swink is going to win it handily, but not until Lusk put on a tremendous charge, a tremendous challenge. But now with just a couple of corners to go, Swink will not only be champion, he is winner and still champion. Swink successfully defends his title over the advances of young Ezra Lusk, who is first to congratulate him. Swink, the race winner, Swink, the champion, Lusk, the heir apparent to Eastern Regional supremacy in 1993. And And there are your 1-2 finishers. Great afternoon for Team Suzuki.
Yeah, great afternoon for the fans. We saw some great racing. It was really tremendous. Lusk did congratulate him, but it was one of those slappers like, geez, I really screwed up. He's not smiling under that helmet at all, and Swink has to be awfully happy.
He's only 16 years old. He has nothing to be ashamed of here. The fans appreciative of 2 great performances. On their feet for the hometown boy, Fenton, Michigan's Brian Swink clinches the championship in front of the adoring Michigan throng here this afternoon. Lusk is happy as well. They have turned in a memorable performance, a memorable day of Supercross competition. Boy, they like Swink here in Michigan. And like you, Larry, I'm looking forward to that showdown coming up later this year when the East meets the West and Swink gets his opportunity to do battle with Jeremy McGrath. He's urging him on.
Let's throw Ezra Lusk into that battle, because then all of the wraps will be off. Championships are decided, and I think that one is a go for it. Do whatever you have to go. Lusk could be a factor.
Swink and Lusk beat Jimmy Button, Jeff DeMent, and Doug Henry, rounding out the top 10. Mike Brown, Goodman, Pedersen, Karsten, and Edwards. Bob Hanna is with the champion and the challenger.
We know you guys are friends and your teammates. When you're going at it like that, is there any hesitation on passing the other rider?
Well, yeah, I'm going to try to pass him, do anything I can, I'm not going to run into him and knock him down, especially when I got this big a lead in the series.
How about you, Ezra?
Yeah, Brian's got the championship wrapped up now. I didn't want to play dirty or anything with him. I want to take no chances of taking the championship away from him because he worked too hard this year for it. And we got it home for Suzuki now. We got 1-2 today, and hopefully I can win the rest of them for Suzuki.
Both of you guys, that was a fantastic race. I don't think I've seen better. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm happy just to win the championship, especially here in front of the hometown. It was great.
You only needed 4 points. Why did you go after it so hard? Because of the hometown?
Yeah, kind of. I just got the start, and I rode fast as I could. My arms pumped a little bit, I guess because of nerves, maybe. Ezra caught up to me, and he rode an excellent race.
Congratulations on this championship, Brian.
Thanks a lot.
Swink has clinched. There you see the margin. Button, Henry, Pedersen, and Lusk will have one more opportunity to score points at the Dallas race, a combined East-West affair. Swink will have the option of climbing on a 250 for the rest of the season to gain experience for next year, because he has successfully defended his 125 championship. We'll be back with the 250s. We go to the 250 main event. This is the man the Michigan fans will pull for. Jeff Stanton, 2-time series champ, has never won here. Let's go back and recap what happened last night. As the 250 main event launched for turn 1, Stanton, hoping for a great start, instead number 2 is involved in this huge tangle. Equally significant, number 1, Jean-Michel Bale, his Team Honda counterpart, is in the midst of it as well.
Yeah, the big difference, Stanton was able to slide on by, and Jean-Michel Bale had to hang around for a while and wait the motorcycles untangle themselves, Dave.
Good guys in the back. Look who gets to the front. Number 30, Larry Brooks, leads Damon Bradshaw, who puts a pass on Mike Jones. For Brooks and Jones, a rare opportunity to head up the Supercross competition. For Damon Bradshaw, as he goes after Brooks for the lead, a great opportunity to pile up points here while the Honda guys are in trouble. Now, Bale was impressive. He came from 16th all the way back to 7th, but that was not enough to preserve the championship point lead that he brought to Michigan. Guy Cooper said after his heat race, with a good start, he felt he could win the main event. He didn't get a great start, but he came up, put a move on number 30 Brooks, and took over second spot. So for a while, there was a question of whether he might be able to run down Bradshaw. The big question, though, was Jeff Stanton, number 2. Could he recover from that first turn bobble and perhaps win the race? And boy, he was impressive as he charged, Larry.
He was impressive. One of the more impressive things is you think back a year ago when a crash by being aggressive on the same racetrack put him out of contention for the title. How do you knock that out of your mind, Dave, and come back and get on the motorcycle and go right back out there and be aggressive all over again?
Well, Stanton's got that ability. He is a bulldog. He puts Cooper behind him, drops Guy to 3rd, and Guy did his best to get rid of that spot right here. A well-trained motorcycle, sat there and idled till he was ready to go again. Cooper picks it up, doesn't even lose a spot. But up front, it is all Bradshaw. 5 wins in a row early in the year. He comes back and wins in Stanton's hometown. That avenges the loss to Team Honda when they were back in Damon's hometown of Charlotte earlier this year. Stanton was second, moves into the point lead. Bradshaw and Bale tied for second place in the points after last night's action. And so we come here for the finale this afternoon. Jeff Emig ready at the gate. 250 main event, ready to rock and roll here as the top stars of Supercross wind up a long and grueling weekend. The fatigue's got to be a factor.
Yeah, there's rider fatigue, mechanic fatigue, motorcycle fatigue. Nothing has a chance to be put back to normal when you have a doubleheader like this one here in the Silverdome, Dave. Usually you have a week in between, so it could take its toll here.
As the gate drops, we'll find out who's got the endurance. The charge to turn one. Looks like Kedrowski might get a start. Big tangle back in the back, and that will leave Guy Cooper on the ground. What a tough way to start a 20-lap main event. Cooper's in the back. Tishner got around Mike Kedrowski to take the lead. It's the Suzuki number 23 out front with Mike Motocross Kid Kedrowski in that number 2 spot. He's been close, but he hasn't won a Supercross race yet this year. Bradshaw is third, and we'll check the progress of the Honda guys. No duplication of last night's turn one disaster. They've still got some catching up to do today as Tishner, the Florida boy, takes advantage of that early lead and tries to get away from him. That's tough to do, though.
Yeah, Jeff Stanton is back away in the pack, and so is Jean-Michel Bale. You got to look at this and say it's history unless Bradshaw makes some kind of a mistake. I don't see anyone up there to challenge him.
Boy, Stanton about 13th or 14th you saw in that field summary shot. Change of leadership as Kedrowski goes to the front. Bradshaw starts to put pressure on number 23 Tishner, and by my count, Bale, there's the pass. He's into second. By my count, look for Bale back there in about 10th spot. So Bradshaw has another great opportunity here. One man between him and a 7th victory of the season, and about 8 guys between him and the Honda team behind him, the men with whom he must battle for the championship. Bradshaw has had great luck in Michigan.
He has indeed. He won here 2 years running coming into Pontiac, then of course winning the first half of that doubleheader. That's 3 years in a row that he has at least won in Pontiac. And Bob Hanna mentioned he's won 9 here, and maybe Bradshaw is going to start a string that one day will approach that 9. Who knows? Right now, though, he has his hands full trying to get around Kedrowski. And Dave, you said at the outset Kedrowski had never won one of these things. Maybe this is tonight. I'll tell you what, he's never going to have a better opportunity.
Jeff Stanton made the observation early this year that he thought Kedrowski was a man with the potential to win races, but what he needed was a good start. Well, he's got the whole field behind him tonight, so it's his to win or lose. But boy, how'd you like to have an inspired Damon Bradshaw breathing down your neck at this juncture?
I don't think I'd like that at all. Not at all.
Bradshaw's pattern during the 5-race win streak that he put together early this year was to get the whole shot, get out front within a lap or a lap and a half. He's not been able to do that here tonight. LaRocco has made a move on Tishner, and so sore wrist and all. Mike is up to 3rd spot, and that's a good charge for him. This could be a great night for Kawasaki.
Now here comes Jeff Matasevich, rider number 9. Matasevich has had a history, and the history being only this season that I'm talking about, riding strong in the early laps and then fading in the latter laps. However, Matasevich, as the season wore on, has been getting stronger all night. You know, and we might see Matasevich make a run here.
Well, he certainly made a run by Tishner right there to take over 4th spot. Of course, the reason that Matasevich was fading early in the season was that he couldn't train all winter. He was out with a broken leg. It's remarkable. Many people feel that he's even in competition this year. Leader Kedrowski, the 125 national champion, riding the 250 here in Supercross competition and whipping the best of the business for the moment. And meanwhile, we watch Jean-Michel Bale come charging through traffic. He is around number 30, Larry Brooks, picking up another position. Bale has been under tremendous pressure here in Michigan. He responded well last night with a lot of passes. Looks like he's prepared to do that again here today. We'll be back with the Kedrowski-Bradshaw battle in a moment.
It was his turn to suffer at the back part of the pack, trying to pick off riders, pick up 1, 2 points, whatever he possibly could manage. And tonight it's Jeff Stanton's turn to do that same thing. So the Honda guys are giving Bradshaw a break. Instead of double teaming him, you know, with top finishes both nights, they're going to allow Bradshaw to sneak back up and into that points lead.
Meanwhile, Bradshaw cannot get around Kedrowski, and that, too, is significant. I think it demonstrates that the rest of the field are coming up to Damon's level. Here is Stanton as he works his way along with Doug Dubach and Larry Ward. He is certainly not where he wanted to be. In his scenario, this would be the weekend he would finally win the Silverdome Supercross. Huge leap past Ward, and Stanton is into 11th spot. It's a long way to the front, but again, points are critical. He's got to ride real smart right here.
You know what? He has to be aggressive. You have to do that on this track in order to make the passes, and you have to be cautious because the track is treacherous, and he makes one wrong move, and he's going to be down on the ground, and that would be a disaster, an absolute disaster. Meanwhile, Mike Kudrowski continues to hold off Damon Bradshaw. What a job he's doing.
He's been very impressive here tonight. Bradshaw, the Charger, has the opportunity to take over the point lead. There is every reason to think that he is a highly motivated racer, but he has not matched Kudrowski's speed tonight, and that is impressive. That is a first this season. We're seeing the best of Mike Kudrowski. Meanwhile, Jeremy McGrath, number 17, is about to be challenged by the best in Supercross. The reigning champion, Jean-Michel Bale, is 6th. Working on McGrath, who is an impressive 5th tonight. If Swink win in the 125 class is a great show, this kid running 5th in the 250 is pretty good as well. Make that 6.
Did you see that? How did he do that so effortlessly? Jean-Michel Bale is unbelievable.
Up front it is Kudrowski. The man behind him is Damon Bradshaw. When Damon won 5 in a row earlier this year, people suggested that perhaps he should park on that point lead and protect it. Then a couple of bad races, and now he came to this weekend determined to get back in the lead.
Yeah, I'm going to let it hang on the edge. You know, I'm going to have to do everything it takes to win. You know, there's definitely no points for me to pad, so I'm going for it.
I've been waiting for him to go for it. Indeed, he's closed up to within 3 or 4 bike lengths, but Bradshaw has not really put significant pressure on Kudrowski thus far.
But he knows where the competition is behind him. He knows the competition is Stanton and Bale. And as long as they're not pushing him, I think that he'll wait, bide his time, look for some kind of a passing situation that would avoid conflicts, would avoid bumping and shoving, Dave. Come down to the last 2-3 laps, I'm not so sure that he'll give Mike Kudrowski that kind of leeway. I think he'll go for it then.
You saw Bale put a pass on Kudrowski's teammate Matasevich to pick up another spot. Damon remains the question. A victory here puts him in the championship point lead, depending on what happens to the Hondas behind him. Pontiac Silverdome, the laps winding down. Dave Despain, Larry Myers, and Bob Hanna bringing you the excitement of Supercross on ESPN. And here comes Damon Bradshaw looking for the leader, Mike Kudrowski. He's alongside, and he's got the spot. What a move.
He was just waiting until the final laps, then he forced the issue. Bradshaw is riding extremely smart at this particular time. Look, he's already opened up 5-6 bike lengths between himself and Kudrowski. Obviously, Dave, he was just sitting back and biding his time.
First time this year we've really seen Damon do that. We've not seen Damon as the
what are you saying here?
Patience.
You're not going to sugarcoat this, are you, Dave?
Well, I'm impressed, frankly, because that's the kind of smarts that makes a champion. When you sit back and pick your spot. Thus far this season, Bradshaw has just been a charge, win kind of guy that got him in trouble. He crashed in Indianapolis. He hurt himself. He lost the lead. He looked in danger of losing the championship. He came back here today and showed that he's got championship smarts as he puts a move on Kudrowski and takes the lead. And in the middle of a traffic jam, he will now try to hold on to the victory. Meanwhile, Bale will try to get to 3rd as he works on Mike LaRocco. And he gets tangled up with the lap rider Larry Ward, and that'll cost him some ground.
It cost him 4, 5, maybe 6. Oh, look at the gap now between them. He was right on LaRocco's rear wheel. That definitely will cost Bale some ground. Whether or not he can catch up, that's the word right now with laps. Whoa, and Bradshaw almost threw it away on that finish line jump.
Well, Bradshaw picked up the tempo to get around Kudrowski, and the tempo almost took him out as he definitely overshot that jump and missed that hay bale by inches. Here is the race for 5th and 6th. Number 9, Jeff Matasevich, trying to hold off the 17 of Jeremy McGrath. Here you see the gap from Bradshaw back to Kudrowski, and if you think that's a big interval, we'll stick that interval clock on the rest of the field here in a moment and show you how far behind the rest of them are. Kedrowski set a blistering pace, keeping Bradshaw at bay through most of this main event. Bradshaw finally went around to take the lead. Now here comes Kedrowski, but look at the gap. These are all lapped riders that you see here. Larry Ward a lap down. Here comes Larry Brooks. Way back here is Mike Larocco, number 7, some 13 seconds behind the lead battle. And Jean-Michel Bayle, who was close to Larocco a moment ago, number 1, has given up the chase. He will settle for 4th as Damon Bradshaw cruises the final lap of the Silverdome and takes the championship point lead. Big afternoon in the career of the Charlotte, North Carolina 19-year-old who would be champion of Superdry.
Take a look at the points, Dave. You get 25 points for finishing in the number 1 position. Then it drops down to 22. Third place gets 20 points, and fourth place 18. So that move that we witnessed a lap or so ago when Bayle had to fall back off the pace is going to cost him a minimum of 2 points. And that could be a telltale situation when we get to the end of the season. 2 points, a lot of points. Bradshaw takes the checkered flag.
Kedrowski a solid second here this afternoon. Second again. He really wants to win one of these things. Bradshaw stops to salute the fans. They came here to see Jeff Stanton win. Bradshaw stole his thunder in the state of Michigan. A bow to the crowd. Damon is back. Bradshaw, Kedrowski, Larocco, Bayle, and Matasevich, the top 5. And the big story is Jeff Stanton back in 7th spot behind McGrath, ahead of Tishner, Emig, and Craig. Let's talk to the winner.
Damon, it seems like you've got your winning streak back. Do you think you're going to outdo that 5?
I don't know, Bob. You know, I'm looking at race by race. I'm just going to go out there with an open head like I did tonight and see what the outcome of the race is.
Do you think you're going to need quite a few more wins to wrap up this series?
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to be over to that last race. So, you know, I'm looking at race by race and wait till the end of the series.
That looked great tonight, Damon. Good luck in the future.
So the 3 riders seesaw battle for the championship continues. Bradshaw goes back to the top. Stanton a point ahead of Bayle as we head into the final 4 races of the season.
Look at the champagne shot. Miss Coors and Miss Campbell. Well, Miss Coors picking up a bottle of her own. She's getting revenge on what has happened to her the past couple of weeks. I'm not sure who's going to win that one, though.
Next stop on the tour, Las Vegas, Nevada. You'll see it next week on ESPN. Dave Despain for Larry Myers and Bob Hanna. See you next week.